We have one semi-final set up here at the North American Championship. Danny Baggish and Leonard Gates will duke it out. We're now turning our attention to the other half of the draw. And we're joined in the commentary box by Awesome Dawson. Alongside me, bang average Dawson, Jim Long and Darren Young. Darren Young, the top player in America going on the rankings this season. Jim Long, one of the top Canadians. He's in the top 4 in the overall rankings for North America and Canada. Darren Young, 46 years old, Big Daddy from Mountain Top. As Jim, a man you know plenty about, Dawson, having teamed up at the World Cup of Darts with him for Canada. He's a dangerous player, isn't he?
Absolutely. Jim is quite a clutch player, especially in big circumstances. He just stays relaxed and gets the job done. It's one of my favorite things about him as a player, actually.
Yeah, we saw him, of course, at the World Championship. And just to make your point, when he beat Mickey Mansell, there were some huge finishes in that game. Even when the legs hadn't been great, he just pluck a godly shot from nowhere. You cannot rule him out. If he's got a shot, Jim Long is a danger.
Absolutely. For me, on paper, this is the
first leg is Jim to throw first. Game on.
This is the game of the first round for me. I think this could be a good matchup. These guys in the head-to-head list are 3-3. It's gone back and forth, and they're both in good form. They're both playing on TV regularly, both participating in the World Cup, and I think they're both going to be up for this.
Yeah, well, 5 of those meetings came on the CDC circuit last year, and you're right, it did go back and forth.
108!
Jim Long straight in there!
40.
Hang about, Jim. Oof. Well, 4 perfect darts.
80.
A signal of intent. And look, these guys, between them, took 8 legs off the world champion and the world championship runner-up earlier. So they've thrown some decent stuff already and had some of the top players in the world in trouble at times.
60.
Mind you, just beating Van Gerwen's dead easy, isn't it, Dawson?
Sometimes, depending on how he's playing, I guess. But today he looked pretty difficult.
Dawson did manage to see off the world #1 at the recent World Cup
60.
of Darts.
It's been a steady start from Jim here. It's only been 9 darts, but he's thrown 107 average so far. Steady stuff. It's good open to this first leg of the first match of the first round.
85.
Obviously, Dawson, you moved over to compete on the PDC, on the Pro Tour.
130.
But how big a thing is it for these guys who are back over here to have a fully structured tour with the real carrot of making it to the World Championship at the end of it, as well as, you know, having own individual events over the course of the year?
It's amazing, not just for the
85.
players, but it's amazing for North American darts in
51.
general, just to see that we can get these kind of opportunities, and there's a way through just to do it in the PDC. Big dart coming in from Jim.
19.
Just outside, but he will be back.
Yeah, they're the ones you can afford to miss when your opponent's only about halfway down from 501. But he won't be able to miss again.
97. Jimmy Reguar, 32.
Darren putting a little pressure on that shot, but maybe not enough.
Edge on the
It won't
first
be
leg,
enough.
Jim Long. Second leg is Darren to throw first. Game on.
1-0 for Jim Long.
What was it like when you first started playing darts and came up against the likes of Darren? Because he's kind of synonymous with USA darts, isn't he?
81.
Absolutely, yeah. I've known Darren a long time, probably better part of 10 years now. And he was actually always kind of a role model to me in a way, because when I started, he was always on TV,
100.
and he's still always on TV, but he's just been a role model to me when I was younger, and I've played him quite a few times over the years. He's a hard player to play because he's so big, he's intimidating, but at the same time, his darts are intimidating as well. So, as we're seeing here, can he fill it up?
140.
Not quite.
A few patriotic messages, as well as a touching message of support for Jim Long.
100.
And why not? Dawson had picked it. He said that this, on paper, looked the tie of the first round, and this is probably the first game we've seen where it's not been quite as nervy or as edgy. You played, obviously, the last couple of years, you played in both the US Darts Masters and indeed this North American Championship. Is it harder playing this because you're not really expected to go and beat the stars, but there is pressure on this, and that the prize is so enormous?
Absolutely, yeah. For this event, for the North Americans, the US Darts Masters is almost like the fun one, because you get to go up and play players you've never seen before, and all of a sudden you're thrown on stage with them. But for this one, you're playing these guys all the time, and you're playing for something
44.
that literally means the world, and that's the World Championships.
Well, it is difficult to pick a favourite in this one because, as Dawson mentioned, it level in the head-to-heads. They both whitewashed each other last year. There was a 6-0 win in a semi-final for Darren and a 5-0 defeat for him at a tournament earlier in the year. Treble 20 the target. And what did we say earlier about Jim Long? It doesn't matter. If it's a checkout, if it's makeable, he's a threat. Not going on this occasion.
48. Darren, you require 16.
Might not be enough to put some pressure on Big Daddy here, but 3 darts in his hand. He knows how important this is early on in the game. Could be awkward.
8.
You could see the wire move. Jim Long. Well, he's hit the 18. He was looking at the bull, but he's left 75. So 25 and bull is the usual route. Oh, it's too good, Jim.
Typical.
75. Darren, you require 8.
And then in frustration, he's left himself double 9. I think he's probably miscounted there.
Yeah, shot the second leg. Darren, you. That leg is Jim to throw first. Game on.
Danny Baggish fans in the house. Quite a few people have been talking about Danny Baggish as a potential winner of this event. Not a guy that you've seen before on your TV screens.
96.
But looks like he could be the real deal, doesn't he, Dawson?
Absolutely, yeah. Danny's been around a long time. Even though he might not be as experienced as the other guys, he is certainly as talented.
121.
Well, obviously, you didn't manage to come through the qualifiers yourself, but you only have to look at some of the other players who didn't make it. The guy called Matt Campbell, who's right up there with these two in the CDC rankings, 108 average and all sorts he was chucking, and he still missed out. They're pretty brutal, those qualifying events.
Absolutely, and it's best of 7 format, too, so anything can happen. Especially, you have guys like Jacob Womack, who is, I believe, he's 20 or so, and he chucked in 112 average in the qualifiers. And that's the kind of thing that can happen in a best of 7. You just never know, and everybody in a best of 7 match is a threat. And that's why it's so hard to get through these qualifiers, and that's why sometimes it just doesn't work out, just because short formats can make it difficult.
Well, slightly longer, the best of 11 format.
81.
The typical length of game that they play on the PDC Pro Tour.
Should find a third.
100.
It's a no from me. That's Big Daddy's first maximum, and it's come at a crucial moment.
It's a big shot here. Double tops.
100.
Just underneath.
Darren, you require 100.
One of those that would have felt good when it left the hand.
Triple 20. Double 12.
Yeah,
Brilliant darts. Fireworks from the American on the 4th of July.
Game on.
Well, yeah, averages are a decent guide as to how well somebody's playing, but it's Michael Van Gowen's mantra: the right shots at the right time. And Darren Young was a long way behind in that. And then fired in his first 180 and took out a ton plus checkout and back-to-back visits. It's those little 6-dart bursts that turn legs, that turn games. And how do you do you learn to do that, Dawson? Where do you learn to really up your level in the crucial moments?
That's the thing. I think with some players, it's just kind of something you find inside yourself in big moments. I don't think it can be learned when it comes to timing. I think it's just how much bottle do you have, and do you have that kind of potential inside of you? I think that's the only way to describe the big shots at the big times.
Yeah, well, look, Darren Young's a guy who's beaten Adrian Lewis, the two-time world champion, 3 times in his career. He's beaten him more than he lost to him. He's got some major scalps in his long and illustrious career, and some fans.
I think that's one of the things when it comes down to timing that's Darren's known for. He might not put in the ridiculous averages, but he's always a threat. Same as Jim. He's always a threat just to take that big shot at the right time. And that's so important in this game. It's hard not to look at averages sometimes because they are a good guide, especially over the long term, about how you're playing and what your form has been like. But at the same time, averages don't tell the full story sometimes, as we can see here. Jim Long averaging 10 points higher than Darren.
59.
But he's 2-1 up with a break of throw. It's all about timing.
Well, is he going to stay?
21.
Another one in there. That is a beauty. Rescues that visit, Darren Young. And again, halfway through a leg, and he puts in a big visit to just get his nose in front.
Great switch from the 111.
100.
Textbook.
Darren, you require 136.
Well, he's already had a ton plus checkout. This could be another. Is that in? It is! Double 8! Oh, that is a monster from Big Daddy!
His leg is Jim to throw first. Game on.
Look, Dawson, none of us who've got the talents that these guys, or indeed yourself, possess, are ever going to know what it's like to be up on stage, broadcast around the world, and somebody does that to you. That must be like getting punched, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. I've always looked at darts kind of like boxing in the sense that you're just kind of changing blows with the other guy, and I think Darren just landed a good right cross to Jim's chin there, It was a beautiful shot and hard to take. But Jim's firing back here. Not backing down by any means. He knows what's on the line here, and he knows that he's going to want to keep his head on, regardless of what Darren's doing.
Oh, clambered off the canvas to stick a couple of 140s in.
66.
Another great switch from Darren Young. From the 1 to the 5 to the triple 20.
Really great leg of darts this from Jim Long. A trio of ton 40s. Oh, why not? Well, even Darren Young's going to struggle to turn this leg around. That means he cannot leave a finish. So Jim Long has got a bit of time here.
81.
Doesn't want to come inside here.
Yeah, Jim Long.
12 dart leg. Jim Long cuts the gap. Big Daddy looked to be running away with it, but Long is just one leg behind. Two of the big names of North American darts colliding here at the North American Championship. Only one will make the semi-finals. Welcome back to the Mandalay Bay, where Darren Young, the USA #1, and Jim Long, one of the top boys from Canada, are going at it in the quarterfinals of the North American Championship. All these guys fighting it out for $10,000 and a place at the Worlds. Jim Long with a higher average, but Darren Young, 2 ton-plus checkouts, a 103 and a sparkling 136, just gives him a narrow advantage. Dawson Marshall alongside me. Breaks can change games, can't they, Dawson?
Absolutely, yeah. The past 2 years in the semifinals, I've been up going into the first break and ended up losing the match. And it's one of those things you don't know how to handle it, because you go backstage, like get away from the lights. Do you stay on stage, keep throwing, keep your arm warm? It's one of those things you don't know. It can interrupt the flow of a match. So we'll see what happens here. But Darren Young already with the big break of throw. How important will that be?
Well, Danny Baggish said that winning the last leg before the break settled him down in his quarter-final against Elliot Milk. Came back after the break and continued to turn it on.
96.
Will we see more from Jim Long? We will, it seems.
100.
You're in the right place. How much does the USA and
24.
Canada need a big star to break through? Obviously, John Part was that big star, the 3-time world champion, and yet there's still work to do to get the game to grow in North America.
140.
How much does it need a figurehead, if you like?
I think it's in every sport, it's crucial for growth to have your big players come through, and we definitely need a big American to come through. Not even just a big North America, but it's important for a big United States of American to come through and do well. And we're seeing some potential come through. Like I said, it's I can't get enough of this Jacob Womack kid that's coming through right now. He didn't get through the qualifiers, but from his averages he's putting up, he is a very, very solid player and looks like he's got a lot of potential. But it's very important just to have a person come break through and show that it is possible from our side of the world to
68.
put these big numbers and take down big names and make moments of a lifetime.
161's a very big number, just too big at the moment for Jim Long. Should look at the bull.
65.
Yeah, that use of the bullseye there just gets him to a 2-dart checkout.
137. You're moving 196.
Well, Darren Young has taken out a 103, a 136, and he's now looking at a 106. If he can make it 3 ton-plus checkouts, he'll re-establish a 2-leg advantage.
Triple 18. Needs to set it up here. And doesn't. Leaves 63 with Jim on 40. Big shot here in context of the match to break throw. Just underneath. Yeah, that's huge in the context of the match. Breaks back, gets the throw back on order. And this is going to be close. I said from the beginning, I think this is the tightest matchup of the whole thing. And we can see that by their head-to-head past going 3-3 against each other.
The winner of this facing the winner of our final quarter-final, Gary Mawson versus Jeff Smith. I mean, this entire half of the draw is an absolute minefield.
'83.
Don't think that's his own.
Interesting fact for me is the first ever PDC tournament I went to.
60.
It was a North American PDC event, and Jim Long actually won it. It was the first time I had ever been to a big PDC event that wasn't involved with like the likes of the big PDC names, because we did have one in 2011. It's a big shot from Darren. We did have one in 2011 that had the big pros come over, but then for the next few years we had came to this kind of format where we had
50.
just North Americans playing, and Jim Long actually won it, and I didn't know who he was. He was just a guy in a regular plaid shirt and absolutely rode off the rest of the field.
I've seen glimpses of what Jim Long can do. Wasn't that far off. Going even deeper in the World Championship, Mr. Dart to beat Benito van der Pas.
46.
And Ali Pali.
155.
Yeah, he had a big win over Mickey Mansell in the first round. Then to play Benito and get chances like that. Especially, I remember in his quarter of the draw, I don't think it was the most stacked quarter of the draw, so he had potential to go deep there. And just shows one dart here or there can absolutely change your career.
Well, it could come down to one career-changing dart tonight here in Las Vegas. Big Daddy looks to hit back, having lost the last couple of legs. Down for the 17s. Double 8 for 127 in game.
111. Community 145.
Is this one of these Jim Long specials? Oh, not quite. He was going in search of the treble 19 that would have left double 14. Big Daddy ready to pounce, if that's not too distressing a thought.
85. Darren Uruguay 16.
Another big shot in the context of the match.
Yeah, it's on the
Beautiful, just above the double 16.
You don't like those ones that sneak in the corner, do you?
They all count.
Is it at this, if there are any nerves, how long does it take when you get into a game where you just settle and you just get back into just that rhythm of playing darts and you can try and forget about the context of it, the enormity of what's at stake at the end of tonight's tournament?
For me, I usually like to really focus on my 9 warm-up darts, actually, because when comes to just getting up there and getting a few triples in the warm-up darts, I think that's really important just to finding a flow in the match. But if you struggle in the 9 warm-up darts, I think it just takes until you get a big shot under your belt and get the momentum going. I think that's all it takes, because a lot of big stage darts just comes down to momentum and feeling the flow.
60.
What do you make of the dancing we've seen on show so far? As something of an expert yourself, Dawson.
I wouldn't know nothing about that.
No, I'm pretty sure I remember.
No,
I remember you doing, no, what was it? Flossing, that was it, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't my brightest moment. It looked a lot cooler in my head and the other people doing it in the video, but we live and learn.
45.
Darts is all about learning, and it's whether it's hitting big shots or learning not to dance on TV. It's one of the two.
$105.
Well, it's been a strange contest, this. Darren Young, couple of big checkouts early on in the game seemed to put him in charge. Then Jim Long was in the ascendancy. And Long, who
45.
had a healthy lead in the
Down here,
averages,
140.
they've converged. In fact, Young has just seen his average click over that of Long's, because he's the player in charge here.
Yeah, Jim Long is in trouble here. Not the great setup shot, but Jim's going to need at least 2 trebles on the next visit here just to leave a finish. And even a 180 would put a little bit of pressure on, but it's a good first start.
Unfortunately for Jim Long, that leaves him a bogey number, so Darren Young is going to get multiple darts to win this leg, you feel, and he's 50% on his doubles at the moment. This is world-class finishing from Big Daddy. 96 checkout to add to his 2-ton plus. And a couple of years back when Willard Bruyere went all the way and won this, it was the finishing and some combination finishing in particular that got him over the line.
Absolutely. Finishing is everything in this game, but I think as we just seen there, Jim Long's got no quit in him. He's still got, he's only got a break throw once. We got to keep that in mind. Is
40.
He is only 1 break a throw behind because he did win the bull. Even though he's 3 legs behind, he's only 1 break a throw behind, which is very important in the context of the match.
It's got to be difficult when you're in the, when your opponent is just 1 leg away. It's got to be difficult not to panic, though, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's hard to look at the score line and see that you're down by 2 legs, but I remember one of the earliest advice that I was given was always just kind of don't count the legs, count the breaks of throw, because you're always just expected to hold your throw. Steady 15 darters should do that probably 90% of the time, depending on who you're playing, of course. If it's Michael Van Gerwen, it might be 20% of the time, but... Jim ahead by 300 points almost here. He's looking good to hold throw here, but the next leg is going to be huge, because if Jim Long can stay strong here, he's going to get a chance to break. Great shot, 12 darter from Jim Long. Clutch, especially under the pressure he's under.
Well, this is the leg. Darren Young to close it out on his own throw. If he loses it, Jim Long becomes the favourite.
41.
Just thrown his second 12-darter of the match. Another one here. And Jim Long's in business.
100.
Now this is interesting, because if Darren comes up with a treble-less visit, especially into the ones, Jim will have 1 back to throw.
There was absolute disgust in that look at the first half, Darren Young, but he's rescued it to an extent.
Jim has effectively won back the throw here.
60.
But a treble-less visit will not help. Every treble is like a little nugget of gold at this stage of the game.
You know Jim Long better than most. Have you ever seen him ever look under stress at all?
I don't think so. He could be
59.
if not one of the most chilled out guys I know, especially on the dartboard. Even being on stage with him at the World Cup is have a little conversation onto the side, and you're just like, are you not thinking about this right now? Like, we are in a game, and you seem relaxed and happy, but he is incredible at what he does.
I'm not sure Jim Long's expression would change if you set fire to his trousers. Just seems to keep on plodding.
81.
Vital last start from Big Daddy. It's too close to call. It really is. And with the way these guys have finished,
100.
just one sniff of a chance might be enough. Darren Young gobbling up more than half his darts at double. Jim Long's finishing at 44%. These are good numbers.
That is a big shot. Jim is going to need to put a lot of pressure on here. At least a triple. Gets it.
100. Darren Uruguay, 102.
Whose shoes would you rather be in, Dawson, right now?
I don't know. Big slice of pie. Ooh, he goes 2 for tops.
And he nails it as well. Big Daddy hauls himself over the line. Some world-class finishing from these two. But it is the USA with a third ton-plus checkout of the game who advances through to the semi-finals. He's still in the hunt for a return to the Worlds.
Big Daddy Darren Young, he is our third semi-finalist here in the North American Championship, beating Jim Long in our third quarter-final here at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. Quick look at the match stats for that match. 6-4 in the end to Young. 2 180s each there, double successes, 60% for Young. That really is the killer statistic for him that sees him into the last 4 here in Vegas. Okay, let's hear from our winner.
Darren, what a battle that was with Jim.
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty good. I was throwing all right. I hit some good finishes there, but my scoring just went way off there in the middle of the match, and I felt it slipping away, to be honest with you. And I know how good Jim is, so just to get away with a win there is, I'm over the moon.
3 ton-plus checkouts. If you can carry on finishing in that manner, you could go all the way and win this, couldn't you?
Yeah, but my scoring has to improve. I mean, my scoring was so sporadic. I'm catching so many ones on my first dart. I need to correct that, get that sorted. And if I get that sorted and finishing stays the same, it's going to be tough.
You're one of the big names in US darts and have been for many years. You've played at the World Championship on more than one occasion, but getting back there, that's special, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have a little bit of redemption for it because I just got the book from the PDC, and I have like the lowest winning percentage in the history of the World Championship. So I need to fix that. I need to win one more game, and I like jump a whole bunch of guys. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, getting to the World Championships, that's the biggest dart tournament in the world. I've done it a few times. I'm not very successful at it, but if I get there and I get on a roll like I did, a couple times this year throughout the CDC events, and you know, I can make a decent run, I think, for myself.
Well, congratulations. Well played tonight.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Well done, Darren. Fantastic performance, bouncing into the semi-finals. Let's take a look where we are now. Daniel Baggish won the opening quarter-final 6-2 against Elliot Milk. Leonard Gates 6-3 against Sean Brenneman. And Darren Young 6-4 against Jim Long. Still to come, Gary Mawson against the defending champion, Jeff Smith. Rod Harrington